Hi, my name is Tony Kovatch, and I'm the artist in residence here at Liberty Bellows in Philadelphia. I want to welcome you back to our series of instructional videos for the piano accordion. The goal of today's lesson is to play a song in G major that uses three chords, G, D, and C. But first, we're going to do a warm-up to help us with chord inversions. Let's start by identifying our chords in the left hand. Find your rhinestone or your indent. That's your C row. G is right above the C row. And notice that the other two chords, D and C, neighbor that row. Remember that G and D have special names in the key of G major. G is the tonic, and D is called the dominant. Remember, the tonic is always going to be the chord that has the same name as the key. The dominant is always going to be the chord that is built on the fifth scale degree. The song of our last lesson, La Cucaracha, only used two chords, G and D. But today we're going to throw a new chord into the mix, and that's going to be C. C in the key of G is called a subdominant. So we have our tonic, G, our dominant, D, and our subdominant, C. Notice that the dominant is above the tonic, and the subdominant is below the tonic. In fact, this pattern is true no matter what key you're in on the accordion. Your dominant will always be above the tonic, and your subdominant will always be below. This is one of the main reasons that the bass buttons are arranged this way. It makes it easy to play the three most common chords in a key. You probably noticed that saying dominant and subdominant and tonic is kind of a mouthful, so musicians happen to have nicknames for those chords. They call the tonic the one chord because it's built on the first scale degree. The dominant is called the 5 because it's built on the 5th scale degree, and the subdominant is called the 4 chord because it's built on the 4th scale degree. To recap, you have your 1 chord, G, your 5 chord, D, and your 4 chord, C. Now let's talk about chord inversions. Remember, chord inversions are very useful because they allow you to play any chord you want in any area of the keyboard. In our last lesson, we discovered that we have a G chord in this low register, D, G, and B, which is our inverted G chord. We also have a D chord in this area of the keyboard, and that's D, F sharp, and A. In our last song, La Cucaracha, we simply highlighted those chords. Since we already have our tonic, G, and our dominant, D, let's see if we can find our subdominant. The easiest way to play our C chord today is to use this fingering. Play your E on the bottom, then this G, and then play the higher C with your pinky. So again, this is what G will look like. D, C. Let's try playing a 1-4-5-1 chord progression. So that will look like this. Your 1 chord, G, 4 chord, C, 5 chord, D, 1 chord, G. All of this is really going to come in handy as we learn our song of the day, Amazing Grace. Let's start by talking about the chord progression first today. You're going to start on your tonic, which is G. I'm going to call out the numbers 1, 4, and 5 and see if you can follow along. Start on your 1 chord. 4 chord. 1 chord. 5 chord. 1 chord. 4 chord. 1 chord. 5 chord, 1 chord. Let's see what that sounds like with the melody. We're going to start on our 1 chord. 4, back to 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. In the right hand, the first phrase of the song highlights our G inverted chord. So find that chord, put your thumb on D, your index finger on G, and your ring finger on B. You'll notice throughout the song, we play these two notes, D and G. That's a pattern you'll see throughout the song, and we're always going to play it like this. Thumb, second finger. So the first phrase looks like this. Did you see what I did with my thumb and index finger at the end of the phrase? I ran out of fingers, so I had to cross my index finger over my thumb to reach that note. Here it is again. The next phrase begins with the same exact notes. Make sure you reach up to the D with your pinky. If you put those first two phrases together, it sounds like this. The next phrase of the song also starts by highlighting a G chord, but not the inverted G chord. It actually highlights the G chord built on the note G at the bottom, like this. G, B, and D. In order to make sure we can reach some of the lower notes later in the phrase, make sure that you play the G with your second finger. So it'll look like this. And the last phrase of the song is incredibly similar to the first phrase of the song. Take a look. Here's a fun way to elongate the song. See if you can play our three chords in your right hand to the same chord progression. Stay tuned for our next lesson, in which we begin a brand new key, F major. Thanks for watching.